Thank you very much. I want to show you something. I'm pumping the brakes on something. So on May 10th, the Green Bay Packers are now telling their fans, hey, this Jordan Davis, it's a work in progress. We have to give the player time. Wait a minute. You just gave the guy a contract extension. Jordan Love, thank you. They just gave him some sort of weirdo contract. They just gave Jordan Love like some sort of like $22 million deal. Right? All of a sudden now, you got management and Matt LaFleur going, hey, wait a minute here. This is a work in progress. Why are you leaking that out? Why are you saying that to your fan base? Are you lowering expectations on May 10th? Welcome to the land of not being relevant anymore because you wanted to move off of Aaron Rodgers so bad. The last 30 years of football, you've had Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. Now you're in the land of shit sticks. Now you're in the land of, hey, wow, I'm watching this guy and he ain't it. You know why they're doing it. They're telling their fan base, if you think we're going to win 11 games and win the NFC North, hey, this is the reality we live in now. Yeah, they burned $22 million 1 year. The guy never played it down. Well, he played a little bit against the Eagles. Now that the Packers are like this, whoa, hey. Before you guys start saying we're going to win the North, this is a work in progress. Oh, since when? So you move off a 4-time NFL MVP to tell your fans, hey, get this, it's a work in progress. Okay. Well, that's quite a nosedive from Aaron Rodgers to let's let this thing work its way out. Holy cow, you talk about defeating and deflating. You're telling your fan base, don't expect too much this year. Oh my God. And you're doing it on May 10th when you don't have to do it. Okay? Hey, look, if they had to step in after Favre and Rodgers, I'd want them to temper expectations a bit. Yeah, but you didn't have to move off of Rodgers. That's my point. You could have had a decent relationship with the egomaniac. Your job as general manager and organization, no matter what kind of freaky personality your player has, especially at that position, is to manage it. The Packers have mismanaged Favre and Rodgers. Should you kowtow to them? Yeah. If you're paying a guy $60 million or $40 million a year, should you give the guy what he wants? Should you bend over for him? You're paying him. Yes. We're not talking about the 53rd guy on your roster. Let me give you a little education here on the Jimmy Johnson totem pole. There's certain guys at the top of the totem pole that you allow to fall asleep in the meeting. And then there's guys at the bottom of that totem pole that if they fall asleep, you're cut. You see, Joe, and some of you guys in here, everybody on the team should be treated the same. Nobody in your place of work is treated the same. People who are the most productive get treated better. People who are the bigger TV stars get treated different. People who are the biggest salesmen get treated different. The NFL isn't a communist country. Hey, everything's got to be done equally and everyone's got to be treated the same. That's not how that works. That's not how that is. Troy Aikman can fall asleep in a meeting. That's right. RY, 53 dudes treated 53 different ways. That's correct, depending who you are. But shouldn't every player in the room be treated the same? So you think I'm going to treat Jalen Hurts the same as I'm going to treat Ian Book? I mean, really? You guys in your own personal lives don't do that. It's crazy. I bet Parcells treated it different than Phil Simms. Well, Parcells, one of the greatest lines of all time, right, Yale? Belichick walks in, looks at Parcells, goes, LT was 15 minutes late to a meeting. You know, I just want to tell you, they're getting ready to play the Eagles. Hey, LT walked in. He was 15 minutes late. Parcells looked at Belichick and went, why'd you start the meeting? One of the greatest lines of all time. Why'd you start the meeting? Troy Aikman falls asleep in a team meeting room. And Jimmy Johnson, one of the coaches, Norv Turner, goes, Aikman fell asleep in the meeting. Don't wake him up next time. That's coaching. That's managing. Now, again, there's a production scale. I'll put up with this much shit of you as long as you're producing this much. And when the scale turns, that's when you're gone. But if you're producing like this and you got some really weirdo things, smoking in a teepee and darkness, and you and Cheech and Chong are hanging out at the at the Green concert, or what is that, global warming concert, and you guys are all hanging out smoking weed and your shoes and hemp and all that, I'm all right with that. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is at the Greenpeace and global warming thing, and everyone's smoking their hat. Okay. Did he throw me 40 touchdowns? Yes. Is he the MVP? Yes. I don't care what he smokes. But the Packers let him go, and now they're telling everyone, hey, hey, we got to really be, got to be patient here with Jordan Love. Oh, well, okay. Yeah, that'll go over good with Packer fan after 30 years of greatness at the quarterback position. Now you got to stiffen the building, and you got to tell everyone, maybe we drafted the wrong guy. Ask San Francisco how that thing's going with Trey Lance. Trey Lance. What did I write down here? I wrote something about Trey Lance down here, man. Trey Lance. I can't wait to see this guy. What's this, Jordan Love or Trey Lance? Who will be the bigger bust? Or will it be both of them? I'm trying to figure out, will it be both of them? Or will it be just one of them? Who's going to be the bigger stiff? Trey Lance or Jordan Love? I personally think both of them are stiffs. 3 first-round picks for a bum. Whoo, man. Wait a minute. Bird Gang. God, that hurts. Wait a minute. Hey, Bird Gang, watch this. 3 first-round picks for a bum. Ooh, that hurt. Ow. Man, does that hurt. Wow. Man. I had to tighten my butt cheeks for that one. Oh, man. Oh. Woo! Man, that hurts. 3 first-round picks for a bum. Oh, man. Hey, Niner guy. Purdy's the only way that's going to save you, man. Chicken wing Purdy. Hey, chicken wing Purdy, man, is the only way that you save that. Mr. Irrelevant could save John Lynch's job. 3 1s. How you doing? All right, here we go. This is, because I got this idea yesterday because I had some predictions about the NFL season coming up. These are my bold 2023 Philadelphia Eagle predictions. Are you ready? Here we go. Hey, and you know what everyone's going to say? Weren't you just talking shit on the Georgia guys? Not the Georgia guys, the program. The program. Here is prediction number 1 for the Eagles. Bold predictions for 2023. Nolan Smith is going to lead the Philadelphia Eagles in sacks with +10. I think this player, he's impressed me. I like him. He commands the room. I'm rooting for him. I think Nolan Smith is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles sack leader for 2023. JM goes, I'm recording that clip. I'm going to hold you to it, Silz. He barely had 10 in 4 years. Well, let me hook. Look. Hey, Tone. Well, let me hook you up there, my friend. He barely had 10 in 4 years. That's why they're called bold predictions. Bold predictions. Okay? Bold predictions. He's competing with Reddick. I get it. Prediction number 2 for the 2023 Philadelphia Eagle season. Hurts will not play 17 games this year. And not because he's sitting, because they've wrapped up home field. He will not play 17 games. Prediction number 3 for the Philadelphia Eagle 2023 season. The Eagles will win 11 ball games. And for the first time since 2004, win the NFC East. Prediction number 4. Hurts will not throw once again for 4K or 30 touchdowns in a season. Bold prediction number 5. Jordan Davis will not start a down in 2023. I think he's going to be the rotator guy. I think he's going to be the rotation guy. And I think Fletcher and Jalen are going to be your starters. Not bad. 2 great players. Or 2 great talents. Okay? Hey, by the way, not beating out Fletcher Cox, is that a bad thing? It's going to tell you kind of who he is, though. Prediction number 6. I think the Eagles give up 28 points a game on defense. Now, so you understand, I think the Eagles are going to score over 30, 34, somewhere in there. I think the Eagles have a chance to be the highest scoring offense in the NFL. But I think they're going to give it back. I think they're going to be in a lot of tight games this year. But your offense is so good, it's going to keep you in every game. It's going to keep you in every ball game. You're not going to be favored in every football game you're going to play this year. You're just not. But I think your offense is going to win in spite of some of the defensive woes that they're going to have this year. I think Dallas Goedert. I think he's going to catch And I think he's going to be your number one pass catcher in 2023. I think he gets 1K and 100 catches in 2023. Dallas Goedert will be the number one target in your offense. 100 catches, 1,000 yards. Shitty was on pace for that last year. I think he's going to solidify himself as one of the top 3 tight ends in the NFL. Yeah, I love this guy. He's got a nose for the end zone. He's a hard worker. I just think he's super talented. Now, by the way, I'm not saying that the other receivers are not going to catch 1,000 yards. I'm saying that Dallas Goedert's going to be your number one target. You're going to see 100 catches out of him, and I think you're going to see 1,000 yards out of him. This is a crazy one here. I think DeAndre Swift's going to get 1,000 yards rushing. I think he's going to get 1,000 yards rushing. I don't think he ever has, but I think he runs the ball for 1,000 yards. And I think you cover Miles Sanders with him. I think he stays healthy, and I think he gets 1,000 yards. I love this guy. You know what, man? He's a cheap man's version of Christian McCaffrey. I think he's good. I just do. I think he's a really good ball player. Prediction number 9. I think Devontae Smith becomes your number one wide receiver in 2023. I think he has a better season than A.J. Brown. So before I get to 10, and I have a special one for you. Nolan Smith, 1, leads the Eagles in sacks, 10+. Hurts will not play 17 ball games, and that's not in line with the team sitting him. I think he's going to get banged up a little bit, like he has the last 2 years. Eagles won 11 ball games and the East. Hurts is not throwing for 4K, 30 TDs. Jordan Davis will not start a down this year. The Eagle defense will give up 28 points a game. Goddard's going to be the number one target in this Eagle offense. DeAndre Swift will get 1,000 yards rushing. Devontae Smith will be your number one wideout. Number 10, bold predictions for the Philadelphia Eagles. In 2023, I think the Eagles will replace Sean Desai as defensive coordinator by the end of the year and name Matt Patricia the defensive coordinator to fix the defense after week 8. And that's how they right the ship, fix some of the issues on defense, and they're able to run through the tape. The side will be replaced. This is why they're bold predictions. Thought you liked Desai. That has nothing to do with whether I liked him or not. Jonathan Gannon was second in the NFL last year and had a top 10 defense the year before, and everyone was screaming for his head. What does being a good hire and a good coach and a good mind and a good innovator have to do with the fact that if you give up 28 points a game and you're in that conversation, what does that have to do with anything? I think Sean Desai's a good coach. He comes with great recommendations. But there's a reason they hired Matt Patricia. There's a reason they brought him in. You think they brought Matt Patricia in for shits and giggles? Or do you think they brought him in to oversee what he's doing? I do. Okay? And here's my final prediction for 2023. This pains me. This pains me. This pains me to say. This pains me. I think Hurts wins the MVP. That's it, Chris. Hurts wins the MVP. Hurts wins the MVP. I think he's going to carry that football team to the NFC title game. Can't believe it. I cannot believe I said it. Shit. Silz is kissing that. Oh, yeah, that's. Oh, did you? Niner guy goes, I'm kissing your ass. Did you not listen to the first hour? Hold on for a minute. Did you not listen to the first hour, Niner? Okay, I mean, did you not listen to the first hour? Niner must have missed the first hour of me talking about the Georgia guys. He must have missed it. Yeah, because that's what I'm known for. I said it. Oh, dual threat. There it is. Oh, shit. Dual threat. It doesn't it? It hurts, doesn't it? Shut up, Sue. Hope you're right, bro. Listen every day. Thank you, Philly D. Oh, man. Dual threat. Neil comes back. Oh, God. Jackson, Burrow, and Rodgers are going to make it difficult. Yes. But don't you think he has an easier road to success in the NFC versus those other guys? Aren't those other guys going to eat their own? I mean, dude, look at the AFC. The AFC right now is littered. And by the way, I see we're having some little bit of internet issues here, so hopefully it clears itself up and you guys are all cool. Aren't those guys going to eat themselves up a little bit, though, over in the AFC side? You know, you got Burrow versus Allen and Mahomes, and those guys are going to be going back and forth, and I think they're going to eat each other up. What is the most difficult path to the NFC title game for the Eagles this coming season? It's loaded on that side of the conference, that side of the NFL. It's just loaded. Ain't no thing about a chicken wing. Not sure the Eagles make it to the NFC title game with that schedule. Number one toughest schedule, too. Okay? Philly has the toughest schedule. Kyle says Niners or Cowboys. What of those two teams do you think is the more difficult? Niners or Cowboys? I know who I think is more. For the Eagles to get, for the Eagles to get to the NFC title game, Minnesota's not a threat. Detroit could be a threat. Detroit could be a threat. Okay? Detroit could be a threat. But they haven't done it. What other team? Packers, no. Seahawks, maybe. It's Niners and Cowboys. Of those two teams, who do you fear more potentially being the NFC champion if you're Philly? Dallas or San Francisco? Eagle Eye, you shouldn't say no threat because the Cowboys have owned you, especially with Dak. Niners or Cowboys are both difficult for different reasons. Cowboys because of Dak effect and Niners because they're just so damn talented. Agreed. Here's why I think it's Dallas. Dallas, Detroit. Hey, parlay, it's not bad. That's not bad. Here's why it's Dallas. You play them as a common opponent. They know you. They know how to attack you. They've got Dak. Dak has been, get this. No, how many people believe that Jalen's a better quarterback than Dak Prescott? He hasn't proven that yet. In head-to-head competition. He has not proven that. He has not proven that. That's not a fact. That's an inspiration. That's not a fact. Dak has performed against the Eagles and quite well. So that's right, Neil. The Eagles are going to have to go out and prove that they can beat Dallas. San Francisco, they have. And I know what Niner guys are doing. Niner guys are going like this. Well, we lost our quarterback. Dude, it's part of football. Guys getting knocked out of games because a pass rusher hits your quarterback and breaks his chicken wing. That's part of football. You can't make an excuse for a football. Dude, it's one thing if Brock Purdy had the flu and couldn't play, or he had COVID and couldn't play. That's clearly an excuse. But when you get your ass kicked and you get your ass hit, that's a football play. You can't make excuses for a football play. Niner guys want to make excuses for the fact that you couldn't defend your guy, even yesterday. Brian Baldinger brought that up. You can't make excuses for that. You're making an excuse because a guy missed a game over COVID or somebody dies and he couldn't be there for the game for whatever reason. Not because of a football play. They hit the quarterback. They knocked him out. You couldn't do anything without Brock Purdy in there. And that was the end of it. That was the end of it. So when you hear Dumbo Samuel making excuses, well, we played with 10 guys. Bro, it's part of football, man. I don't know what football you play, but it's called tackle ball and hitting, catching, tackling, running. That's football. You can't make excuses up for that. And then what does your dumbass coach do? He put the wounded chicken wing back in. Hey, you think you can go? Yeah. Can you imagine? Brock Purdy's like this in a sling. Here's Brock Purdy. He's in a sling. And your coach comes over to you and goes, hey, do you think you can go? Excuse the internet. I appreciate you guys hanging tight with Big Silz. Hey, do you think you can go? Yeah. Dallas is your bigger opponent if you're the Philly because they play you twice a year. They're a division foe. They know you, and at times they have your number. Philadelphia's got to beat Dak. They've got to beat Dak. Dude, I'll tell you what. I'd like to have seen the NFC title game with the Cowboys in that title game last year versus Philly. What that game may have looked like. Because you've had no success against that guy. And how would that have looked? With the Cowboys rolling into Lincoln Financial. Do I think the Eagles would have won that game last year if the Cowboys had gotten to the NFC title game, I do. But it would not have been some runaway. It would have been, I think, last possession type of football game. I don't think it would have been a last possession game. I think, again, San Francisco has not been able to figure out the quarterback position. It's why they don't have a Super Bowl title. They had the quarterback situation figured out with Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick has been your best quarterback over the last 10 years. He's been your best quarterback. And you fired him because you had shitty management. You fired your coach, or you let your coach walk out you fired her. I think you fired. Didn't you fire Jim Harbaugh? You made poor decisions in the front office. You had a general manager that was going wild, and you fired a quarterback who was on his way to being what the modern day quarterback is today, the RPO guy. Can you imagine if you left Colin Kaepernick alone and you let him develop what he would have looked like today? He may have been ahead of even what Lamar Jackson is. Guy may have been an MVP. I'm sorry. I know some of you don't like his politics. I don't care about his politics. Colin Kaepernick was a good quarterback. He is what Jalen Hurts is today. Colin Kaepernick is exactly what Jalen Hurts is today. So before you guys start shitting on Colin Kaepernick, I've never seen a guy throw for 250 yards in a game and run for 250 yards. I've never seen anybody do that. Not in an NFL game. And I think he did that in a playoff game against the Packers, didn't he? I mean, you had the guy. And then his bullshit got in the way of himself too a little bit, and he started going on Oprah, and anybody who goes on Oprah gets their career destroyed. So, I mean, when you start doing that political shit, he killed himself too. Now, he's loaded because, you know, he makes money off of race, which is, I get it. It's okay. There's an industry today on race, so you can make a lot of money on it, and people do make a lot of money on it. And so, hey, NFL gave him $20 million to go away. But he was the quarterback. I thought Colin Kaepernick was a fantastic player. They just started losing players in San Francisco around him. And when you look at his last year numbers, shit, he was on pace for 3,400 yards passing, 800 yards rushing, 24 touchdown passes. The same shit Jalen does. Okay? I mean, look at his last year. You're trying to tell me you think Jalen Hurts put a better year together than the Super Bowl season that Colin Kaepernick did? I don't. Kaepernick was a hell of a ball player, man. Colin Kaepernick, stats. You guys let your politics get in the way. See, this is what I talk about. I don't give a... Right. You would think a guy like me doesn't like Kaepernick, but I do. Yeah, Jalen's a pro. That separated it. But here's Colin Kaepernick's last year in San Francisco. You tell me if this was bad. So he was 1-10 when they yanked him. That's a team deal, too. He had 331 attempts and 200 completions. 60%. Okay, not terribly great. He had 2241 in passing yards. So you put another 5 games on that, he's around 3,200 passing yards. He had 16 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. So he's at 22 touchdowns, what Jalen had this year. 6 picks. I don't know. You're making it sound like this guy. And then he had 468 yards rushing. So you put another 5 games on that, he's around 700 yards rushing. Those are Jalen Hurts numbers. And Jalen Hurts has got a $255 million deal. Higher percentage in completion for sure for Jalen. Better passer. But Colin Kaepernick was a better athlete than Jalen Hurts. He was. His leadership skills were lacking. He did get to a Super Bowl. Like, wait a minute, Chris. His leadership skills were lacking. Well, he carried a team to a Super Bowl too. He's got an NFC Championship ring. What's Jalen done more than him? Get paid? Okay, fair enough. Remember, he was making $17 million a year. Wasn't like he was making chicken shit. This was 8 years ago, too. He was making a lot of money. He was making like $17 million a year. Wasn't like he wasn't making any money. So I'm just saying, I mean, before you start talking about, well, Jalen was a much better. No, he wasn't. Stayed quiet. Probably so, all that stuff. Again, politics got in the way. I agree with you, Yale. I completely agree with you. He didn't live and breathe football. Probably true. But Cap allowed his BLM girlfriend to control his life. Chris, probably so. But I liked him. I liked him, the player, not the politic guy. I did. Every time I watched Kaepernick play, I was like this. Holy shit. I thought he was going to be better than Cam Newton. Didn't you guys think that? Cal Green, Cap sold out. Dude, are you, hey, Callie, NFL comes to you and wants to give you $20 million to go away. Are you going to take it, or are you just going to go, no, I'm going to stand on my political beliefs? Come on, dog. Every guy in his right mind would have took the money. Okay? Right? Hey, again, not revisiting anything here. How did we get over here, too? Yeah, I'm talking about the Cowboys. Yeah, I don't know how we got there. 49ers without a quarterback. That's right. That's how we got here. You haven't had a quarterback since Kaepernick. So, I mean, to sit here and say, well, the 49ers are going to be a threat. Yeah, they're going to be a threat because they have a great roster. They have a great roster. There's no debating. Who has a better roster? Take the quarterbacks out of the conversation, Silz. Who's got a better roster? 49ers or Eagles? 49ers. Absolutely. I'll say that. More experience. Sure. Guys at the top of their profession. Sure. Hey, the only reason I picked Trent Williams over Lane is because Trent plays the left tackle position. But those two guys are going to the Hall of Fame. Kelsey's the best center in the NFL. He's going to the Hall of Fame too. Landon Dickerson's going to take over for Zach Martin. He is. Hey, Kittle or Goddard? Who would you take? Kittle or Goddard? Who would you take? Who would you take, Kittle or Goddard? Man. Boy, I like Dallas Goedert more. That's right. Mulata, your old line's better than San Francisco's. You take Kittle, Michael? Michael, Michael, I don't think there's a wrong take here. I don't think there's a wrong take here with that. No QB. Agreed. That's the thing that gives it to Philadelphia. But see, when you go to the Dallas conversation, Dallas gets the nod because why? They haven't beaten really Dak in any way. Even though, hey, well, here, let me go here and give you an example of that. Last year in the Super Bowl, did you guys think the Eagles had the better roster to the Kansas City Chiefs? Did you guys think you had the better roster? I did, and I still do. But they had the better quarterback, right? And by the way, no shame on Jalen. It's Mahomes. Mahomes is going to the Hall of Fame. Mahomes is going to the Hall of Fame. But you guys had a better roster. Well, I think you got a better roster than Dallas. But Dallas has a quarterback that beats you. So that's why Dallas, in my opinion, is more of the team that's the threat to the Eagles than the Niners. The Niners, if they called, last year, one of the things that I loved hearing in this offseason was that the 49ers were in conversation with Ben Roethlisberger and having him come and play some quarterback for them. And it just didn't work out. That would have been remarkable. Roethlisberger in an NFC title game could have been an amazing game at Lincoln Financial. Calvin goes, no, we didn't. Really? Dude, all you have to do is Google it. No, we didn't. Yeah, you did. Fact, Silz, we aren't a threat. I didn't say you weren't a threat. I didn't say, I said you're not as much of a threat because you don't have the quarterback that beats Philly. Dallas does. Dallas does. Brian, think about that. If Roethlisberger had come out of retirement and San Francisco had put him in the building, that may have been an interesting NFC title game. Neil goes, Jalen was horrible that day. I thought Jalen Hurts was horrible in the entire playoffs except for the Super Bowl. I thought he was terrible in the Giant game. I thought he was terrible in the NFC title game. He was spectacular in the Super Bowl. He was spectacular. I don't care how you look at it. Look at the numbers too. He just wasn't very good. But in the Super Bowl, he was spectacular. Outside of the play, dropped the ball on the scoop and score. I thought he was great in the Super Bowl. Great. Neil, great bowl game, right? Great Super Bowl. Bad in the playoffs. But they didn't have to be because Christian McCaffrey was mopping up in the NFC title game. I can live with that. Turn it up when it counts. Yeah, no. I mean, but no, you know what? Anything, it's not an indictment, Tone. It's just what happened. It's not an indictment on Jalen. It's just he didn't play well in those games. He was spectacular in the Super Bowl. He was. I thought he was sensational. He did not smoke the Giants, dude. He did not play well in those games. He did not. And the Devontae Smith, he'd have thrown for only 90 yards in that game against the Niners. He didn't play well. Okay? He did not. Silz, the 49ers are hosting open tryouts for fans to fill the quarterback position. Joshua, that's pretty funny. Bad because he was playing injured, unlike well, that's part of the conversation that we always have with dual threat. He ran all over the Giants. Dog, that's not true. That's not true. You guys had 230 yards of total offense against them. Again, the Giant game, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the lowest offensive output against any team this year was against San Francisco. You take that 30-yard or that 30-yard gift catch away to Devontae, you had 230 yards against the Niners. Wasn't like you were putting up enormous chunk yards. You beat them in the second half running the ball for sure. But throwing the ball, that was nowhere to be seen in that game. You didn't have to. The Giants were a non-factor. They beat them up. It was easy. The Eagles were not threatened in any way whatsoever. And the quarterback played 2 very below average playoff games. He wasn't asked to have to win a game for him. He didn't have to. Hassan Reddick won that NFC title game. It's, again, stop disputing facts. Didn't have to throw in a San Francisco game. That's actually factual. That's Cooley, correct. Correct. Absolutely. You're not saying you're saying the same thing I am. Correct. Are you suggesting that Jalen Hurts played great against the Giants? I don't even want to look up those shitty numbers. He was a really good running back in that game. Again, John, correct. He was spectacular in the Super Bowl. Correct. Brian Daboll is a great coach regardless. We'll find out this year. I think the Giants walk back a little bit. Okay, I think the Giants walk back. We'll see. I'm sorry, but I'm not a Daniel Jones guy. Okay? I am not a Daniel Jones guy. I would say Hurts wasn't good in the San Fran game. In the Giant game, I think he was better than you're implying. 67 completion, 2 touchdowns, 150 yards passing, 1 rushing TD. Defense created short fields. So 188 yards in total offense he had against the Giants. You would consider that good in a divisional game? Okay. I'll disagree on that. I don't think that was spectacular. And to me, I don't think that was the Devontae catch. I think that was San Francisco. But 154 passing, 34 rushing, less than 200 yards in total offense. I wouldn't put that on my trophy case as a great game, as one of my games. Now, again, he didn't have to do anything because the Giants weren't good. Giants were decent. 67 completion percentage and the 2 TDs. That's good. Okay. But again, less than 200 yards in offense. I don't know. I mean, is that $55 million? Hey, I said to you, he's going to win the MVP this year. Jesus criminy. You've been saying stats don't mean shit. Well, okay. Stats? I'm talking production here. 200 yards in total offense by him? All right. Hey, if you consider 200 yards in total offense, okay. That's not the elite guys. Now, again, what was Mahomes' numbers in the Super Bowl? You could make the same comment that Tone just made. Hey, Silz, did Mahomes have 200 yards in total offense in the Super Bowl? No, he didn't. Okay? No, he didn't. But Mahomes beat you with Juju Smith-Schuster. There's a difference. He beat you with Juju Smith-Schuster and some other dude. Travis Kelce's there. I get it. But Patrick Mahomes beat you with Juju Smith-Schuster and some dude named Ferdy Pacheco that they drafted in the 7th round. Not A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Miles Sanders, and the best O-line in football. He beat you with a lesser team. And Andy Reid. And Mahomes was on one leg. He was hurt too. Going back to your bold predictions, how many yards receiving do you predict by Swift? I like it, John. John, I think he gets 1,000 yards, and I think he gets 500 yards in receptions and receiving yards. Okay? In receiving yards. I think he's going to have a really good year. Okay? Silz, Hurts went 21 of 31, 217 and 2 touchdowns. What game was that? What game was that? What playoff game was that this year? Where he went 21 of 31, 217. What game was that? He didn't throw for 200 yards in a football game in the playoffs this year, except for the Super Bowl. What game are you talking about? I missed that game. Extend Swift? We'll see. We'll see. I think Swift gets 1,400 yards total, all-pro yards. I don't understand why people think Swift is an upgrade from Sanders. Because, Umberto, I would say this to you. I would say this to you because he's a pass catcher. Tone just put out the numbers here in the Giant game. 154 yards passing, 1 TD, 34 yards rushing. What 217? What 217? Swift is more. I agree, Tone. I think Swift is more explosive. I do. I think he's more explosive. Dude, I loved him in that first game of the year. I loved him in the first game of the year. I do. Tone, I'm with you, man. I think and way better in the passing game. He's going to create, in my opinion, he's going to create a screen game for you guys that you don't have, and that's going to be part of the new wave and how you're going to attack people. Okay? That's how you're going to look at it, because he's going to be involved in the screen game. I totally agree with that. I like him. I think he's going to be more explosive. I totally do. All right. We're going to talk to our friend, Tony Siracusa. And again, it's not the Goose. He's from the Last Word in Sports. That's going to be at 5:30 Eastern time. I want to talk to him about this Georgia program because Brian Baldinger brought something up yesterday. Tone and I were talking, and we were talking about, again, the scenario on how these Georgia players don't look like they're in shape when they come into the NFL. Okay? They look like they're not in shape. Both guys are under that guise. And Baldinger said it yesterday. You can go over to our interview that we did with him yesterday. He said it's that program is really weird. That they don't really they rotate so many guys that it looks a little weird at times. And you don't get a true assessment on the evaluation because you just don't see a ton of production when you look at their numbers on what they did at Georgia. So we're going to look at that. We're going to reset. Hit the like button. Power Hour's coming up. Hit that like button. Keep it here on the National